Hi guys! Welcome to episode 2 of Steph and Nathan move again to another country. I'm alone today because I'm actually in Canada. It's probably the first video that I'm doing from my home country, the motherland. I had a bunch of videos planned, and originally this video was supposed to be super different because I had filmed all the steps of us taking the Eurotunnel and going by the French coast and all the little French streets, and our car being way too full, Jet being frozen basically on the car seat because he was freaked out by the car at first. I had all sorts of little testimonials, but sadly all of that, along with at least 3 other videos, have gone, disappeared, vanished. Because sadly I was mugged during my layover, which was also supposed to be a video episode because it was my first time in Lisbon and I wanted to show what we could do in 24 hours in Lisbon. But yeah, as I said, my old phone is no longer. I'm talking to you from a new phone because I was not gonna let those criminals get away with my sense of comfort and my phone without trying to rebuild myself pretty quickly. So all in all, physically, I'm okay. I'm now safe at home, obviously, and I have a new phone. So let's pretend it never happened and moved on. Nathan and I moved out of our flat in England around the 25th of July. We took the Eurotunnel, which is actually a giant train that you board with your car, which permitted us to have a lot more stuff than if we had tried to move any other way, with a plane ride or a regular train ride. And obviously Jet was on board with us. They barely checked our passports. They did not want to see our animal paperwork because we paid for Jet to be with us, but we also had some paperwork to prepare to prove that he was allowed to be with us and he was allowed to cross over with us. But they asked for none of it. So we were really stressed about traveling with an animal for the first time, and it turns out it was easy peasy lemon squeezy. Nobody double checked it twice, which is to some extent a bit scary because what if somebody had stolen my dog and ran to Europe with it? Anyhow, our dog is happily in France now, living his best life. Nathan is with his parents living on their farm, which means Jet is now living his best farm dog life, which is barely believable because Jet is a couch potato and a princess. So after leaving France around the 29th of July, I ended up in Lisbon for a layover because TAP Airlines was one of the only airlines willing to bring me back to the motherland. I had 24 hours in Lisbon, which turned out to be actually the worst and the best because I really liked Lisbon. I got to do literally all the activities because I was the only one in my hotel. We might have been 10 tourists in Lisbon that day. Honestly, I really appreciated my day in Lisbon up until the mugging, obviously. I have to say that with my 24 hours, I was able to see, obviously, the Santa Justa lift. I was able to go up into the Carmel convent, which was actually only €5, which is pretty cheap for such a big attraction. And honestly, it was a really nice place to visit. I'm gonna try and find some non-copyrighted pictures to insert because I don't have my own pictures anymore. Yeah, it was really a nice place to visit. Honestly, I think it's kind of genius that they didn't rebuild the ceiling after the 1755 earthquake because now it makes it really unique compared to other convents in Europe or across the world. So I really appreciated that visit for the cheap price it was. After the Carmel convent, I took the little 3-wheeled tuk-tuk kind of things, and I went to the other mountain peak, which is the St. George Castle, which, excuse my Portuguese, I think they call Castelo São Jorge. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I That's kind of how they spell it. That's actually a reconstruction because once again, between like all the attacks on Lisbon and the big earthquake of 1755 and many other things, it was pretty wrecked over time. So it's actually a reconstruction, which I thought was interesting because it's not really advertised as a reconstruction of the original castle. I actually learned that from my tuk-tuk driver. I googled it and it was true, but it's not like clearly said anywhere. So I thought that was a bit disappointing. So I only spent like 2 hours there, and by disappointing I mean that, like, yeah, it would have been cooler if it was like the original. It was really cool to visit nonetheless. You get like a brilliant panoramic view of Lisbon and the waterway and the other mountains. The trees were gorgeous, clearly like centuries old. Like those trees were probably older than Canada. And then after, like, I'd say, yeah, probably an hour and a half visiting the castle, which was at €10 entry, by the way, if you're interested in visiting it. I decided to go downhill from there because actually the castle is right atop of the old neighborhood, which is called Alfama. And Alfama is like one of the only places in Lisbon that was not destroyed in 1755. So you can really like appreciate like the old Portuguese architecture, and you can really see like the classic tile houses and stuff like that. So I walked around there, and honestly, I don't know what tree it was, but there was like this very bright, like purplish pink tree that was in full blossom everywhere. So every point of view I stopped, there was one of those, which was just like enhancing the blues of the water and the sky. It looked wonderful. Like just walking around there was everything. I really appreciated it. And actually, while I was there, I saw Tram 28, which, if you don't know, Lisbon being made of 7 mountains, there's a lot of different ways to get around, including tramways. And the tramways, in part, are still the original wagons. That's on, I think, line 28 and 25 for sure. I'm not too convinced if there are more than that. But I knew that Tram 28 was like kind of a must. So I did climb on. We were like 2 in the tram, which for anyone who's been to Lisbon before, you know that pretty much shows how empty the city was compared to other summers. And I went all the way one way and all the way the other way. And it's actually getting off the tram that I was mugged. So after that, my hotel was really nice, and they let me like shower and wash off, and the locals were super helpful with me. They cleaned my wounds, and no, they were super great. Like, I have no beef with Portugal over what happened. And after that, I walked all the way to the seaside, and I got to see basically the Arc of Triumph, and I like kind of chilled around Rocio Square because my hotel was just down the corner from Rocio Square. But it was really cheap because, again, the city was empty and they were desperate to fill the rooms. So all in all, I had like a really great day in Lisbon, and after that I just flew home. And ever since, I've been in lockdown. This is maybe like the 3rd time I've left the house, and I'm only like in a park where there's literally no one around. So I'm just chilling here, and my appointment to get my visa sorted for France is the 27th of August, so I don't think there will be much to say on the moving part of this. Nathan is supposed to start a job in France around the 1st of September, so he'll be setting up our lives there while I wait for my visa here. So that's kind of where we're at with our move and where we're at with odd COVID version of summer. I hope your summer is going nicely. Hopefully your plans are going smoother than ours. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see you guys check in for episode 3, which should be like after I have my visa. Maybe I'll already be in France by episode 3. And in the meantime, I'm working on some more videos to replace the ones that were stolen. So have a good month of August, and see you soon.